What if the highest form of devotion wasn't about, perfect reverence and following all the rules? What if it was about a love so fierce it was willing to break them all? Today we're going to dive into a defined story that really challenges our whole idea of what true faith looks like.
So let's just ask it straight up. What is the ultimate test of devotion? We often think it's about prayers, rituals, and showing the proper respect. But what if it's something totally different? There's this ancient story that offers a pretty surprising and profound answer.
So our story kicks off with a kind of divine paradox. Lord Krishna, this incredibly powerful being, is suffering from a headache. And I'm not talking about a small headache. I mean an unbearable, excruciating one. Can you imagine that? A god in pure agony? The best healers, they're all powerless. The situation seems completely hopeless.
Then, Krishna himself reveals the cure. And it is a strange one for sure. He says the only thing that can ease his pain is the dust from the feet of his greatest devotee. Now, you have to understand the context here. In this tradition, feet are seen as the lowest part of the body. So asking for dust from someone's feet to be put on your head, it's a huge act of humility for the person receiving it, but for the person giving the dust, it could be seen as a massive act of disrespect.
Hearing this, the great sage Narada immediately steps forward. I mean, if anyone is Krishna's greatest devotee, it's got to be him, right? This guy travels the entire cosmos singing Krishna's praises. He thinks, this is it. This is my moment to prove my devotion. He's totally ready and eager to help.
But the moment he hears the details of the cure, all that enthusiasm just vanishes. He's being asked to take dust from his own feet, the lowest part of him, and let it touch the divine face of his Lord. To him, this isn't healing. It's sacrilege. It's a blasphemous act.
And right here, this is the heart of his problem. On the one hand, he's terrified of committing what he sees as a terrible sin, but on the other hand, the God he worships is in agonizing pain. His piety, the very thing that defines his devotion, is actually stopping him from showing compassion. And so, he says no. He refuses. And it's not just Narada. Get this, Krishna's own great consorts, the ones who are closest to him, they also refuse. They see it the exact same way Narada does. They just can't bring themselves to commit this crime of disrespect, even if it means their beloved has to keep suffering.
So Krishna is still writhing in pain, and the whole reverence approach has hit a dead end. So he gives Narada new instructions. He sends him on a journey to find a different kind of devotee.
He tells Narada, go to the village of Vrindavan, find the Gopis, and tell them what's wrong. Now, the Gopis were these simple cow-herding girls, and they were known for their pure, unfiltered, absolutely passionate love for Krishna. Narada, still totally confused by all this, does what he's told.
Okay, so Narada gets to Vrindavan and finds the Gopis. He lays out the whole situation. Lord Krishna is in terrible pain, and the only cure is dust from the feet of his greatest devotees. He's probably expecting the same shocked, horrified reaction he had.
But their response is the exact opposite. The second they hear Krishna is in pain, there is zero hesitation. No debate, no worrying about sin, nothing. Instantly, all of them bend down, gather up dust from their feet, and press it into Narada's hands, just begging him to hurry back and heal their Lord.
Narada is he's stunned. This is the opposite of everything he believes. He has to ask them, aren't you afraid? Don't you get what a terrible sin you might be committing by letting dust from your feet touch the Lord?
And their answer, this is the absolute core of the entire story. They look at him and say, what does our sin matter compared to Kanaha's pain? Kana was their personal loving name for Krishna. They say, we would suffer in hell for all of eternity if it meant he wouldn't suffer for even a second. Take it. Take our lives, take our souls, just ease his pain. So, with this incredible lesson just echoing in his mind, Narada rushes back to Krishna, and he finds him perfectly healthy, smiling. The headache was gone. In fact, it was never really there to begin with. And that's the final twist. It was all a leela, a divine play. Krishna set up the whole thing, the headache, the impossible cure, not for himself, but to teach everyone a powerful, powerful lesson about what devotion really is. And here it is. This is the lesson. This story is the perfect definition of true Krishna bhakti. It's a devotion that comes from selfless love. It's all about putting the happiness and well-being of the one you love above everything else, above your own comfort, your own status, and even your own fear of spiritual punishment. And this table really just breaks it all down, nice and simple. You've got Narada's path of bhakti, which is based on reverence. Its focus is on his own personal purity, and his motivation is fear of doing something wrong. Then you have the Gopis' path of bhakti. Their focus is entirely on their beloved's well-being, and their motivation is just pure, unfiltered empathy and love.
And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. This story seems to suggest that when your reverence for the rules gets in the way of a simple act of compassion, maybe you're missing the whole point. So it makes you wonder, in our own lives, when we face that kind of choice, which path do we end up following?